Hey, what's up guys? Great question from young tennis player in my community, Lockie, who is in the Elite Athlete Mindset group. And he asks, how do you deal with the pressure from your family who know how talented you are, but sometimes put too high expectations on you, and this negatively impacts you when you're just trying to be in and live in the present moment early in the journey? Now, I've lived this myself. So factually, this is a problem whether you're early in the journey, whether you're in the middle of the journey, or whether you're already an elite athlete. This is a problem, right? This is a problem. Now, elite athletes, they do a lot of things well. Do they do everything well? Probably not. Definitely not, I mean. When I say probably not, it's a sarcastic way of saying definitely not. So, look, the easy solution is parents and any older siblings or younger siblings who are supporting you, they should support you in terms of financially, space-wise. They should give you the platform to be the best athlete you can be. And they should stay out of coaching you or getting involved in your sport, whatever sport that is. The same principles apply, whether it's tennis, whether it's hockey. However, it's not that simple, right? I'm going to give you the example of my older brother, who's 8 years older than me. It's always kind of been like a father figure when we grew up together. And he always felt the need to take care of me, which is fair enough. He's 8 years older. My parents were always like, hey, you're the older brother. You should do this. You should take care of your little brother. And he really did. There was a certain moment in my career at age 15, 16, when I was a bit too good to keep only getting coaching from him and from many of the other coaches. Because at this point, I was #1 in Australia for under 18. I was the national junior champion multiple times. And I was one of the best cadets, and one of the best, when I say cadet, it means under 15. So I was one of the best juniors in the world. So I really needed someone who had been at that, top Australian men's level, the Olympic level. I needed someone there to be able to help me break through the next level, because I already reached a level that not many people had ever reached in their life. So for my brother to drop the pride, in this sense, he didn't have a lot. He was very calm and collected and grounded in this sense. But for him to say, hey, I can't help you, I'm not in the position to help you anymore, it really is like very respectable and very commendable. And he coached 3 hours other players so that I could do 1 hour with this coach. Now, someone who does that is very much going to be interested in you as a table tennis player. They want you to get off your ass when you're just a little bit sick. They want you to put in the hard yards. It hurts them not to, for you to see you slacking off, because they're putting a lot of time and energy and money into it. So the natural response is, well, dude, don't waste this opportunity. I'm giving you a huge opportunity here out of my own heart, blood, sweat, and tears. So don't screw around with this. And young athletes sometimes forget this. Young athletes really don't understand this. And I don't understand this part, because I have coached players, yes, but they're paying me money, great money, and I really do care, and I do a lot for them. Pretty much in all cases, in every case, I give them more than what they've paid me for. I give them more value than what they've paid me for. Imagine they're doing this, they're paying for you, or they're doing this free of charge. Now, it's normal human behavior that they're going to be like, well, yeah, there's an expectation that you give back in some way, whether it's through your effort or whatever, right? Now, the problem comes when family members get involved, because there's that attachment there. It's like, you're my older brother, you're my mum, you're my auntie, you're my mum. Like, stay away from my tennis or my hockey or table tennis or whatever sport, right? Stay away from my sport. Yet, we don't exactly consciously know that as humans, right? And our ability to, like, let's say if I try and punch you in the face, you're going to react, right? It's not a reaction that you consciously know. It's just an automatic reaction. Similar to this, right? It's not a reaction that we know how to express. And then the parent or the older sibling is thinking, well, why are you snapping at me? What the hell? And then there's a miscommunication. Then two people are angry at each other. It gets worse and worse. And then one side feels like, I'm paying all this money for you. Why are you such an ungrateful little crap, right? Then the other part's thinking, well, I know you're supporting me as the athlete. You're thinking, I know you're supporting me, but this is so annoying. Like, just be my father. Just be my brother. Just be whatever, right? And this is the part that I can relate to. Because ironically, my parents supported me in table tennis under the condition that I was going to study hard. They never put pressure on me to achieve X or Y results in table tennis. So it never, I always loved it. It always was that it always was that escape from studying. Now, my brother did certainly go to tournaments with me, coach me, and put a lot of pressure on me. And that was a relationship that was really difficult, because we eventually decided that, nah, you get a bit too involved in my table tennis. It was something that we both saw. And actually, he was the older brother that said, look, you actually play better without me sitting there, because I'm your brother and I want you, and I love you and I want you to win. And it was actually a move that got me better results. And ironically, that's the actual win-win. So it would have been very hard for him to do all this for me, spend so much time, energy, years, and all that into me, yet not be able to just have to sit there and not get involved at all. It's very hard. Now, I can do an interview with him one day and ask how hard it was, but I don't understand. So in a sense, it is easy for me to say, okay, well, the ideal situation, I know the facts, right? As a parent, this is me coaching parents, right? I fully empathize and I respect what you guys do for your children. It's truly remarkable. However, if you get too involved in your child's sport, they're gonna hate the sport. And if from a young age they hate the sport already, they're not going to continue. If they originally love the sport and then you pile all this pressure on them to win and do this and live up to your dreams or your values, you may do this without realizing, but you've got to be careful. They will eventually hate the sport. They will dread the process, because every time I go, my parents put so much pressure on me, and then it's going to be something that they quit on. No matter how much money you spent on them, no matter how much time, no matter how much you wanted them to be, the desire needs to come from them. This is one of those cases, classical cases, where you got to set up the platform for them to have this opportunity, but then you do need to let go. You need to let go of control. You need to let go of being the one who takes the credit for them getting good, or you need to let go of being their coach, because they simply want you to be their father, their mother, their older brother. Now, I am not saying this is easy. This is damn hard. I can only imagine. But you both love each other. As young athlete, as parent of athlete, as sibling of athlete, you love each other. You want the best for each other, no doubt. So this is what the best thing is. Now, it's going to be hard, but in successful athletes, that common trend is the parents let the child or their child go off, experiment, go through the learning process of losing and winning themselves, and come to their own conclusions. Because we as humans, we need those emotional experiences of winning and losing ourselves. We need to discover it ourselves to eventually be able to, throughout the whole journey, we need that to be able to truly learn something. Because if you say to a kid, okay, well, don't do this because when you do this, it doesn't work. They're like, yeah, and then they forget, right? But it's only when there's a strong enough why, and it's only when there's an emotional impact on them that humans really change. This is human behavior, right? If you tell someone to do something, they might say, yeah, you're right, I should. But there's not enough of a strong enough pain or a pleasure for them to be like, yes, I have to. The moment they win a match from it, and even more so the moment they lose a match from it, oh, they will remember. So pretty much in all cases, you need to let other humans, your child, or your younger sibling, or your older sibling for that matter, the person you're supporting, you need to let them come to their own conclusion. You need to let them be the one that goes through the whole process themselves. And it can be tough to see them win, to see them lose time and time again, but you need to let it happen. This is sport. Now, if your parents aren't perfect, because look, my parents wanted me to have good school grades, right? And they just put too much pressure on me to do that. So therefore I hated school. And it's no coincidence. Yet with table tennis, they always saw it as a hobby. All right, if he loses, let him deal with it himself. Yeah, that's okay. At the end of the day, he's got good school grades. Yeah, and they were okay, right? He's got good school grades. Don't worry about table tennis. It's okay. Win or lose, doesn't matter. Right? And that's the attitude that actually let me flourish in table tennis. I would then go off and cry and go off and, have these tantrums and feel really depressed and feel really happy when I won. And I would go through the process myself, right? And this is what actually made me an amazing table tennis player, because I went through the whole ebbs and flows and the journey of elite athletism myself. Now, if people try and interrupt that journey from young athlete to successful athlete, it gets put in jeopardy. And every time 3% of the time, my parents in the back seat of the car would not be able to control themselves. Say, oh, why don't you do this? And I would snap at them, right? I'd really not get this. I'd hate it. And that's when they're like, okay, well, Jesus, man, if you're going to crack it at us as a fire, if you're going to crack it at us, then all right, you lose then. But if it was studied, they'd actually got copped a few beatings and all that for it. So that was something that they never let me truly discover my love for learning things through study, education myself. Ironically, if I learn about building confidence, if I learn about the mind, if I learn about tennis or things like that, I will actually study this stuff myself. If I learn about business, which I'm now really obsessed about, I will learn this stuff myself, because this is the stuff that through my own pain and pleasure in life, I came to be like, I want to learn more about this. I'm curious. Every human being has a huge amount of curiosity in the world, right? Everyone does it in different areas of their lives, but you need to let your kid go off and do this on their own. Now, if you're a child athlete, if you're a young athlete, whether you're 12, 22, and your parents put a lot of pressure on you, just understand that it does come from a place of love. Ideally, if they really can't give you the space to, flourish by yourself, try and get them to understand this. And the best way is to have a calm, collected conversation. It's like, hey, when you put pressure on me in sport, I know you mean the best for me. If you just go and crack it, they're gonna then feel it's normal. It's normal for them to feel like they're gonna crack it back. But if you're like, hey, I know you mean, if you first label it with a positive, I know you mean a lot of positives when you really get upset and you want me to win. I know you're such a loving person, you label them. That's the strongest thing, because people want to live up to the identity that other people have given them or they've given themselves. So, hey, you're such a lovely, lovely father. You're such a lovely brother, sister, mum. But, it just feels like it feels to me that there's so much pressure, and I want this to come from myself. So, hey, if I would really appreciate it if going forward, this was to happen more. You were to take more of a back seat and let me do it. I would really appreciate that. That's going to work way more than, shut the up. We fight fire with fire, it just becomes double fire. It doesn't become this resolution. So understand from a young athlete's perspective that from your parents' perspective, they love you, they want the best for you, and you're on the same team. So I think it's time we start, really working together as if we are on the same team, because often it doesn't feel that way. So this is how you deal with it. And, in some parents' cases, they can't watch their child without getting attached. And I know some elite athletes and Olympians where their parents just drop them off and they don't go and watch. Not because they don't want to, they really want to, but because as soon as they go there, they just want to know the end result, and that's it. They can't help themselves but get involved, and then they know that it only causes damage to the athlete's career. So there are a couple of ways. If you're still unsure about how to go about it, let me know. Just know that at the end of the day, anyone who becomes successful at anything, it's because it came from a deep desire within themselves. So you can't, like in business, you can't force someone to have a need and want. You find out what people do want and need, and you provide that, and that's how you make money. Similar thing here, right? The child either loves this sport or doesn't. You can't force that upon them, right? You can't force that dream, your dream, upon them. It was never my parents' dream to become an Olympian, yet I became one because I had that dream. It was always my parents' dream to have a really high ATASC or become extraordinary at school and have a 9-to-5 job. That's not my dream. You can't force that upon me. And they epically failed trying to do that. Especially in a kid like me who was very strong-willed, who was very fiery. I was never going to bend to the wants and desires of someone else. Never medium or long-term. Never. So understand that your child is 99% likely going to be the same. At least over time, right? Because there's only so long a human being can do something that's like, nah, this is just for someone else, right? Even if especially if it's your family. So parents of athletes, do take all these things into consideration, because you want the best for each other. So yeah, put some of these things in. They work. Whereas the opposite end, getting super involved, doesn't work. There's too much family involvement that, in an attachment. As children, we have an attachment, whether you realize it as a father, older sibling, or mother. We have an attachment to you that we're not even aware of. And our brains don't fully develop until we're 22 to 28. That's a proven psychological fact. Our brain, especially males, male and female, we don't develop our full logical ability to think in our logical brain from the ages of 22 to 28. That's when it develops. So at a young age, we can't express, and we don't even know consciously, it's subconscious, that we have this unique attachment to our parents. They're our source of survival. They're our source of survival when we're so young, that suddenly when they play the role of the coach, it's so confusing and it's so uncomfortable, and not in a good way, and it's so conflicting that it will cause your kid to quit, right? And throughout this video, I have defended your position as a parent, yes, but at the end of the day, if you want the best results, you got, based on fact, based on science, you need to let your kid play the sport, go through win-loss, go through training sessions, everything themselves. Even though you've driven them there, you've paid for everything, it's damn hard. But to get the best results, this needs to be done.